What's going on, guys? So the Flash is finally back in our lives, and holy crap, did this episode have a lot that we could talk about, so we're gonna jump right into it. But first off, I'm gonna say that I really enjoyed this episode. I am so glad the Flash is back. At first, I was like, it's an alright episode, but the ending, though, I was all like, what? First things first, freaking Barry still has his speed, so it looks like they went back to the original Flash storyline. I'm talking about the 2024 or whatever that article was titled from season 1. It looks like we kind of went back to that Flash because if my understanding of the timeline is correct, that Flash still had both his parents, but Reverse Flash, the Eobard we know now, is the one that went back in time to try to kill Barry. Barry also went back in time to save his own life, and in saving his own life, freaking Reverse Flash killed his mother, creating the new Barry that we all know about and love freaking 10 years earlier than he should have been the Flash or some shit like that because the timeline's crazy. So it looks like we kind of got a taste of what the other Flash that we've never been able to see would be like because that Flash, I'm assuming, had both his parents. And bada bing, bada boom, he doesn't have to be the Flash now either because, you know, freaking Kid Flash is there. So, you know, you got a little bit of taste, but not too much. So, yeah, so I think they went kind of to the original freaking Flash. It was really weird. I don't know, because if you've read Flashpoint, which was the title of this episode, the comic books and the animated movie, he loses his powers, which that's what I thought they were going to do as well, but unlike other shows that will repeat shit over and over, the Flash didn't reuse storylines because you remember he already lost his powers in season 2, so I guess they just wanted to do something different. They didn't want to use the same material for season 3 to have him lose his powers, so what they went ahead and did instead was every time he used his powers as the Flash, he started losing his memories, which was a pretty cool touch. So of course, this was their own version of Flashpoint. I liked what they were doing with it. Thought it was pretty awesome. But yeah, so Barry had his speed, but he wasn't using it anymore because he has his own Flash in this timeline, which is Kid Flash. I already mentioned Reverse Flash. I have to say I loved him in this episode. The darker tone of him, like when he was just yelling at Barry, I was like, oh yeah, man, keep doing that, that's awesome. I want to see more Reverse Flash. Hopefully we get a little bit more of him throughout the season. I'm pretty sure we will, since Flashpoint is still going to go on for another episode or two. And then, you know, there's the rest of the season. He might pop up, but he's also going to be on Legends of Tomorrow. So I cannot wait to see more of the Reverse Flash because the dude is just a badass. With Barry fucking with the timeline, we had a few changes. Of course, Barry was no longer the Flash because Kid Flash existed, had his own villains. Barry just got to be with his parents and be like, yeah, what's up, parents? We freaking had Drunk Joe. I don't know why. I hope they kind of explain what's going on because apparently something gets disconnected that Joe and his family are not that close anymore. And even if you saw at the end of the episode when Barry tries to change everything back, there's still a disconnect there between Joe and Iris. So I want to know what the hell this disconnect between them is. So yeah, we got Drunk Joe, Dorky Barry, who tries to ask girls out, which is exactly how I would be if I was trying to ask a girl out that I had a crush on. I'd be like, we had Rich Cisco that had a hot girlfriend that was like, ooh, I was saying all this sexual innuendo stuff, and I was like, Cisco, oh my gosh! But for real though, Cisco, I love my brown people getting some respect! I love seeing Cisco play a different type of character. I mean, I absolutely love freaking dorky, awesome, goofy Cisco. Like, he's the best. Give me him back, and I know we're going to get him back soon. But seeing Rich Cisco was pretty cool, so I like to see him do different stuff, and I didn't have to worry about the whole vibing stuff all the time. I wonder if that's going to change in Flashpoint. Maybe, maybe not, but it was just cool to see a different side of Cisco. Now, I will say, although I love this part, it was kind of, like, dumb to me, is when freaking Barry kidnaps Caitlin. I love how she was like, so am I being kidnapped? Like, I love that part because Caitlin's so cute and she's just, I love everything about her. But the storyline was kind of dumb right there because she's automatically like, oh yeah, so I always thought, why didn't the freaking cameras change frequencies to make this? Like, really? Like, come on. Like, this Caitlin, she could have said like, oh, I always had a fascination with something. Like, add that one line, like, I had a fascination with microbiology or whatever her freaking, you know, whatever makes her super smart in the universe that we know. In this timeline, she was a pediatrician. Like, what? And she just so happens to make this mind-changing freaking frequency freaking thingamabop. Like, that didn't make any sense to me. I was like, come on. Like, you could have gave us one little line for her to say that she said like, oh, I minored in this or whatever, which would have made sense, but she just happened to fucking make the team better instantly. I was like, come on. Like I said before, we got to see Barry's parents in this episode. We got to see how he is with his parents, and it was pretty awesome that he actually got to grow up. Well, not grow up, but got to experience that love of his parents again because, well, he never had his mom the whole time growing up. So that was really awesome, but I'm still going to say it. It doesn't make sense that freaking, John Wesley Shipp is Henry Allen and Jay Garrick, because you know Jay Garrick's gonna be on the next episode or episode 3 or whatever. It doesn't make sense. If you're new to the channel and you haven't seen the season 2 finale video that I made, go watch it, because I had a big issue with John Wesley Shipp playing 3 different people. Oh, before you guys even mention it, because I know some of you out there saw the freaking article, you freaking tweeted it to me and stuff and told me about it in the comments. John Wesley Shipp said that when he was preparing for the Jay Garrick role, he went back and watched 90s Flash, and he felt like that Barry would be this Jay Garrick of today. He felt like it would just be a progression. That does not mean that freaking 90s Flash is Jay Garrick. Do not get it confused. Do not get it confused. All John Wesley Shipp was saying was that he went back and watched the 90s Flash, the one he starred in, as a reference to his Jay Garrick now. He is not saying that 90s Flash is Jay Garrick. He is not connecting those two dots at all, and it wouldn't make sense. How do you explain the name change? How do you explain the costume change? It's like I said, it doesn't make sense. That's it. We're done. Go watch that video if you want me to rant about it for 9 minutes. Throughout the episode, we saw Barry freaking losing his memories, and he wanted to know how to get them back, or he wanted to see what was going on, so he talked to Reverse Flash, and all of this shit, and Reverse Flash was like, this is what's happening, when you use your speed, you lose your memories, all that bullshit. Well, one thing we found out in this whole fucking craziness of an episode is that love apparently breaks fucking time, because Barry and Iris were in a love in his original timeline, or not his original timeline, but you know, the timeline we all know about. And then this new timeline, apparently love has broken through that, because Iris would never accept somebody asking her out the way Barry did, and they just have this connection, and they feel like they've been missing each other. So apparently, love is so strong, people, that it just breaks through time. I might just be projecting right now, but, you know, I just thought it was interesting that love apparently breaks time in this universe, and it was crazy. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the Rival, and man, do I have to say, I like him. The Rival is badass. Like, I like that he's not trying to hide his face, that he's such a hard ass that he's like, I have no rival. Like, he just took off his mask because he's like, that's how badass I am, bitch. I don't even care if you know who I am. Like, dude, that was hard ass, and I freaking loved it.
But Juice, what was your favorite part of the episode?
Let me tell you, little nugget, my favorite part of this episode was that ending fight between the freaking Rival and Kid Flash and the Flash. And it was all badass because you're like, all right, we're gonna team up. But no, Kid Flash is like, bitch, I got this. And he's all like, wah, 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 wah. And he freaking takes down the Rival, and he's all like, I told you. And then, wah! And it's like, ah! Freaking Wally got worked, and you're just like, Wally! And then the Rival, being the hard ass he is, he's just like, this dude was never my rival, but you could be. And then he starts fighting freaking Flash, and then he knocks Flash down or whatever, and then he starts spinning in some mega twisters, and then the freaking twisters look like from the damn movie The Twister, if you saw it back in the 90s or whenever it freaking came out. I just know that I freaking loved that reference when Cisco said it, because I remember going to watch Twister when I was a little kid, and I was like, this movie was awesome. And also, I went without my parents, and I took popcorn from strangers, and I told my mom about it, and she got really pissed. Back to the story, freaking Rival makes these 2 super mega tornadoes, and Flash is just beaten. He's all like, guys, I can't stop it, I'm sorry. And then Iris gets on the comm, and she's all like, look, you bitch, Barry, freaking in the other timeline, I don't know what the one freaking Iris that loves you would say, but I know I love you and all this shit, and you better just do this because I believe in you because you're the Flash. And then they get a close-up of Barry's eyes, and he's all like, I'm the Flash. He's all and he freaking goes to the tornadoes, and he's all like, and he freaking starts these freaking twisters, and he breaks one twister, and he jumps to the other twister, and he's twisting in it, and the Rivals are like, this is impossible. And then freaking Barry jumps out of the twister, faster, and he super tornado punches the freaking rival. The freaking Flash did a super tornado punch. That is probably the best Flash move since the freaking lightning bolt that Zoom was all like, bitch, and caught it and threw it back at him. That was awesome. But it ain't over, kids, because that wasn't even the most brutal part of this episode. No! The most brutal part of this episode was the ending when the freaking Flash ran out of his speed and he was just like, I can't do this. And the Reverse Flash was like, ugh, I can't believe. He's like, I wish I could kill you right now because I just want to kill you. He's like, but right now, I guess I'm going to be the hero. And he sends Barry back in time so he could kill his mom. And he goes, and this was brutal. Like my mouth was on the floor and I was just like, oh! We see the ending from season 2 when the Flash goes back and stops Reverse Flash from killing his mom, and you see that whole scene, he's all like, I'm not gonna hurt you, I'm not gonna hurt you, you're safe, and then Reverse Flash shows up, the one from the episode we were watching, and Barry's just like, what? And then he's all like, I'm sorry, she's not. And then freaking Flash from season 2 disappears, and freaking so does the Reverse Flash from season 2, and then that Flash stabs his mom. I was just like, oh shit! That is how you start a season 3 of any show. Something like that is insane. Like, that was cold-blooded. If you watched yesterday's Gotham video, I was talking about cold-blooded people. That was cold-blooded. I'm not even kidding, guys. That was insane. I was just like, wow. You see it on her face, like she's so relieved, like, oh my god, I got saved. And then her savior disappears, only to have the villain come back and be like, ree. This is why I love you, Flash. You guys, creators, writers, this is why I don't bash you as much as I bash other shows. But man, that was some good shit. And that is exactly what I want to see for the rest of season 3. Shit like that. The last thing I want to talk about, guys, is the last thing we see in the freaking episode. And that is Edward Claris, which I'm assuming is the new one from the new timeline that we're in now. Is that Edward Claris wakes up because somebody's talking to him, and he walks over to a mirror, and he sees the mirror getting scratched into, and it says alchemy. And we know alchemy is going to be one of the big freaking characters or villains of this upcoming season, which is more than likely going to be Mr. Dude from Harry Potter. I forget his name, Tom Felton or whatever. That's more than likely going to be alchemy, because he's also going to be working with Barry during the day in the freaking crimes lab, and it just makes sense because they're messing with chemicals and shit. Alchemy has to do with that kind of stuff. I think it does, if I got the words right. So I think that's already who Dr. Alchemy is going to be, and it's just cool that he's recruiting freaking Edward Claris, who is the rival, who is a badass. And I'm kind of have the feeling that maybe the rival is going to be our speedster villain for like the first half of the season, and then the second half of the season we're going to get Savitar. So Alchemy is going to be the main villain this whole time, but he's just going to use speedsters to help him out. That's kind of what the feeling I got going right now, but we'll see as the freaking episodes continue. But that's it, guys. I don't know if you are as excited and happy that the Flash is back as I am, but I want to know what you thought of this week's episode. How do you feel about love breaking through timelines? How do you feel about this new freaking Flash world? And what do you think is going to happen for the rest of season 3? Let me know in the comment sections down below. Guys and gals, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and share with all your Flash buddies. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button for all things nerdy and geeky on this channel. As always, guys, I am your host, JUICEbox. Remember, when you wake up in the morning, ask yourself something. Have I had my daily dose of juice? See you guys next time. Bam!